I know I'm not the only one who is adding things in her cart when she is bored and making Pinterest boards that ineffectively will never be happening because I will be forgetting about them the next day. Every single one of those DIY projects. I think this topic of self-discovery or rediscovery is so intertwined so much with your perception of who you want to be, and that recognition comes from the realization that we do in fact live our lives on an autopilot mode. We doom scroll in our free time so much so that the line between what we actually want versus what the algorithm has categorized as trending is so blurred. Like, that feeling of adding every single new skincare routine products into your cart just because, oh my god, that's so much trending and it's working for everybody else. So it's and I think another example of that is once on one side of the spectrum you watch all these videos of girl boss and building your own empire and regulating your nervous system and things like that, and on the other side, completely 180 degree, is 10 quick ways to make money, the next skincare product that will magically take away all your acne scars. It's just too much content out there. And this duality, of course, is the whole point of perception, but at the same time, it is so easy to lose yourself into that duality that it's harder to get out of it. And that happens mostly because you do not know what you really want. And I think this is not just in body image or career or finances, but also and especially in the nuance of a situation. I remember the time my For You page was full of, if you wanted to, you would. If your crush watched your story, this is what it means. And you're not a girl's girl if you XYZ ... And I think this is where social media just eliminates the entirety of the nuance. Honestly, having gained the perspective that I have over time, I have learned that removing this nuance and making things into black or white, this or that, is the worst way you can look at situations. Somebody does not have to be villainized in a story for it to be right or wrong. You can have two completely opposite thoughts and they can completely coexist. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. And I think that's where the beauty of nuance comes in. To say it simply, it's kind of like there is yin and yang, there is black and white, there is a ratio, there is this nuance and the timing, the different layers of the situation and the timing, and it all matters so much more than just one statement of an answer, especially when it comes to connection, because human connections are so complex. You cannot just put it down in one statement of, well, if he wanted to, he would. No, darling, that's not how it works. You're not a girl's girl if you do XYZ. You are a bad person if you do XYZ. Yeah, I'm not talking about things that are absolutely horrendous. I'm not asking you to be on the side of a murderer. It's nuanced. Every single thing in this world is nuanced. You cannot take out the nuance out of the situation and be like, yeah, black or white, this or that, yin or yang. No, that's not how it works. That's where social media comes in. It literally asks you to villainize somebody else for you to be in the right. Why can't two people in a situation and both be right at the same time? And it's kind of like not really related to self-discovery, but within yourself, can you let two completely different thoughts coexist in a balance? And I think that's the kind of conversations I'm recently very much gravitated to, and I realized so much about myself while I was trying to balance these two completely different thoughts in my own head. I want stability. Yes, I do. But I cannot work a 9 to 5 job either. Two completely opposite stances at the same time, they coexist in me. And having that capacity to do that, I think that has brought me so much closer to myself. And that was the start of my self-discovery, self-rediscovery journey. This is not the first time it's happening, guys. I've been here before. And especially and all of this, when you take it into human connections, or just connection with your dog, or just connection in general, I think it's so much more multiplied in its core. I'm trying to articulate a word here, but I just can't. It's on my mouth. I can't remember. But anyways, it's just so much more intensified in a way that, like, there's so many different layers to that connection or understanding of that nuance. And I think one of the biggest examples I can give of my recent encounter with something like that was when I moved out, and recentish, when I moved out, and I wanted to decorate my room in a certain way. And obviously I had so many different Pinterest board ideas, things that I wanted to buy for my house. What are the dishes gonna look like? What is my bathroom gonna look like? And stuff like that. And what color of vase will I have on my bed nightstand, and the candles I'm gonna have, all of those things. And it takes time to curate that taste and build it into your reality. You cannot just buy all of it at one go. It takes time and patience of finding every single thing on your travels, on your trips with your friends, on night outs and stuff like that, where you find bits and pieces and you collect them and you curate it in your room. It takes time. It all takes time. It takes time to curate that taste. It takes time to collect those items and curate it in your room and build it in your reality. And at that time, I did not understand this. And it made me angry. I was like, I want it now. But that's the thing with all the things. The furniture for your room, the food palette, your music playlist, and all of those things, they are always built in a slow and a lived process. And it's always happening in the background without your interference of, I want it all right now. No. Slowly, gradually, you find a completely different artist, and you go from one genre of music to a completely different genre of music, and you're like, I love that. It happened slowly, gradually. You found that artist. You found that I don't know, candle scent at some store, and you're like, yep, that's my favorite one. And now that is a regular candle that you have. Things like that. It takes time. And the best part of it is that it's coming, and the best part of things that come this way into your life is that it is by your choice. It is your life unfolding itself and revealing things to you, rather than you running after things and like, yeah. How many times have you sat down and be like, I'm going to discover a new artist today, and I'm going to find 10 new songs to add to my playlist? No, you just randomly discover a new artist, and that's how it is. And that discovery comes from within. It comes with time. It comes from life, and it's not a rushed process. If I can break all of this nuance into job, finances, romance, or body image, or just curation in general, it comes down to, what do you actually really, really, really want, and not just because the algorithm has told you that it is trendy, or this is cool, or you're cool to have it. I mean, sure, maybe that's true to some extent, to some nuance, but not every time. The music that comes into your life because it is trendy, versus the music that you discovered at some stage in your life because of a particular person who introduced you to XYZ artist, that two completely different feelings. Every time you listen to the trendy song, you're like, yeah, it's a groove, it's nice, it's amazing, it's energetic and stuff like that. And when you listen to a playlist or a particular song that comes from somebody who introduced it to you, it's completely different, and it's a different energy, and that is yours, because now it's nuanced into being personal. And I think similarly for starting a business, do you really want to start a business, or do you just like the sound of it? Do you really think you want a relationship, or is it the society that's telling you that yes, it's time you should have a relationship, it's time to settle down and start a family? Or another example, do you really think that you should lose weight or get a nose job, or is it just a society telling you that you're not fitting the beauty standards? Which one is it? Because ultimately you are the one who should be setting these standards for your own life, regardless of what people say or believe. You are the guideline you should be absolutely faithful to. And if at some point life offers you a new perspective and requires you to change, you do that. And when you do that, you are doing it by holding yourself to the highest standards you can. And that's alignment. And it's so important to remember that if you always follow what others tell you to do, you'll never be enough. You'll never be of standard. And I really believe that the only way one can know these standards for ourselves, it takes time. It has to take time. It takes time to curate that taste for yourself, to learn with experience the kind of people you want around yourself versus the kind of people that you want to stay away from. This is something that absolutely will never do in my life. This is something that I can possibly think of doing, but I've never been in a situation to know if or not I will be doing that. Those are the experiences that shape your standards, and it is going to take time. Because you need to remember that life is not waiting to happen. It is literally happening in this moment. It is happening when you're doom scrolling. It is happening when you're showering. It is happening when you're fast asleep. It is always happening. That this is life. It's not going to happen. It hasn't happened yet. It is happening in the present tense, in the present continuous tense. And that being said, be bored. To find yourself and rediscover parts of yourself, it is so important to be bored. I remember my aunt used to say this to her son: it is good to be bored. It is a good thing that you're bored. And I agree. You do realize that the 10 minutes you're waiting for your train, you don't have to really fill that awkward gap between waiting for your train with your phone. You can just people watch or stare at the railway track and trace your chain of thoughts. Think of these like little modern things. I think things like this in this modern world are the only ways to find our way back to ourselves, because we're so overstimulated with technology, and in good ways and bad ways. But again, perception. It is great that we all have this access to the technology, but at the same time, put it on one side for a little while and just be by yourself. And this is coming from somebody who doom scrolls a lot, and I try my best not to do it, so I'm no better than you. I just think that I am self-aware about it, and I try to be better. And trying is good. It's one step forward. And one thing that I found on my doom scroll is that recent trend of people raw dogging sitting idly. Like they would put a timer for 1 hour and just sit. And it's not like meditating or something. They're not meditating at all. They're just literally sitting in stillness, letting their brain run all these thoughts or whatever. They're fidgeting with their hands, but they're all by themselves. They're not doing anything. Staring at the sky, fidgeting with their hands, just staring outside the window, anything. Just do it all by yourself. And I tried it. I love it. And now I do it every every time, and not in the same ways, but in my own little ways. Like when I go for walks, I try not to listen to a podcast or music, just nothing, just literally the sounds of the streets. Or if I am doing my dishes, I will try not to play something in the background or watch YouTube. Or while I am cooking, try not to watch a movie. Most of the times I do watch something because I'm addicted to it, but at the same time I try not to as well. Some days I succeed at that, some days I don't. Then again, we come back to trying. And I think one of the things that I absolutely love about this thing, of this raw dogging boredom, is you observe. You observe your thoughts, you observe your you observe your surroundings. And it is so good because observation gives you the knowledge. And that knowledge, especially when it's about yourself and your chain of thought, it's your biggest asset. Even in social situations, if you will, you know how you're always attracted to that one person that you just know is observing everything, and you're like, whenever she does speak, it would be important because you know she has thought through something and she's going to say something really important, even if you're meeting her for the first time. But anyways, coming back to being bored, maybe just pick up an old habit or old hobby. What happened to your watercolors? Don't let them go to waste because you're grinding your 9 to 5. Read a book or two. I used to be the one reading one book a day, and now it takes me 2 to 3 months to finish a book. And now that I'm talking about it, I probably should do that, and I should probably just have one day to myself and just read the entire book and finish it out. All those books that I need to finish reading. A friend left his books with me, which is very sweet because he was moving out of the country. Thank you. Shout out to you, Steve. Anyways, point being, take your time to walk back towards yourself. Walk towards your life and rediscover parts of yourself, or discover these small nuances in your own life. And tell me, how are you going to do that? Are you going to stop trying to fill that awkward wait between placing an order and waiting for your order while you collect it? And instead of being on your phone, try looking around and doing people watching, or watch the kids pick up something from the floor, or watch the other person's order just so you can try it the next time. Something like that. What is your curriculum for this month? What's your May curriculum? That's the good question. And I feel like I should probably make a post about that as well. A curriculum, a monthly curriculum. What old part of me am I going to try and rediscover this month? I love making these videos, I genuinely do, because sometimes talking about these things is kind of like, that's a good perspective for my own self, and maybe that is something that I should look into for myself, because and not from a hardcore, I want to improve myself and I want to be the best person I can be, I'm on a healing journey, I'm this and that, I'm a very brutal, very I'm on it kind of way, but in a very soft, in a very subtle background noise kind of way. That would be an interesting thing to figure out about myself, because I think one of the reasons I'm actually doing YouTube now is more of self-discovery than trying to help anybody. And I read the comments and I'm kind of like, okay, that resonated with people, that's amazing, that this is beautiful, so I'm not the only one going through this, which is almost validating, but at the same time it's kind of like, it's a way for my own outlet and learning so much about myself while I think of these topics, or I try to research about these things, and just in general. And I love it. This is amazing. So, anyways, if you love what I talk about here and you want to read more about my thoughts or the short stories that I write, feel free to go to my Substack. I do post weekly, monthly short stories and essays there. And if you would like my help with unstucking your thoughts when you go into a spiral, feel free to grab a free PDF file, which is 5 questions that might help you unstuck your thoughts. And anything else? No. Until next time.